So I just had this like elaborate fantasy daydream that I would record, take all these bunch of videos that I've been recording in one sitting, and I would put them up for daily release. Like I would schedule them so they come out day after day after day. And like at first, 5 people watch them, and then 6 people watch them. And then one day they like get picked up by like I will have preloaded like I don't know 20 videos, let's say, and then on day 19 it gets picked up by like an article and on some site, and then goes slightly viral, and like I accidentally become someone with 10,000 views, and then but that's video number 19. And so there kind of isn't anything after that, and I like fail to capitalize on the trend, and that's like my one big shot. Well, um what if on the other hand I do capitalize, and then I have this channel with like 100,000 people and it's growing quickly, and there's um there's like, Jesus Christ, I've been recording videos too long. My brain has shut down. I can't remember anything. It's like when you're doing bicep curls and your muscle starts to shake, and then it just starts to not go up anymore. And you're like, oh, guess I've worked to exhaustion. Great, I did my set. That's kind of how it is with reading, only, or activities like programming and recording videos where you're like synthesizing the content as you go. Like when I say remember, I truly have no script. I mean, remember what I was talking about 5 seconds ago, like the thing I intended to say, right? Um, See, it just happened again. Yeah, when you hit exhaustion, like that's when it's time to stop. But with an activity like reading, there's no kind of physical barrier preventing you from assuming that you're still reading, right? So you just regress and like read the same paragraph like 10 times, and your eyes are staring at the words, and your lips are kind of zombie like mouthing the first few words of the same sentence, and no thinking is going on. It gets like that with coding too, like real quick. Like if I code for more than 50 minutes in a stretch, maybe 60 tops, it tends to get like that. So you stop, right? And you might have uh, 2, 3, 4 bursts like that in a day, and then you're just kind of fried. If you read Cal Newport's Deep Work, it's one of my favorite books. It offers this model of productivity that changes the narrative. Like the common narrative is we sit at our desks for 8 hours and we do our thing. Well, no, 8 hours was a compromise between like labor unions and factory owners for how long can you reasonably expect people to sit down and do rote manual work in a day. Like it's intense. Factory work is really intense. Um, but like you have to stop, and it's the power balance that got struck, and so wages and whatnot, right? But in the era of information work, like it's a totally different ballgame, and we don't really have a mature social structure around that. Technology is sort of doing its own thing. Like people just show up and leave on their own time, and there's no oversight for what you're doing day to day. It's more like, are you getting your stuff done? If not, that's a problem. But if you're getting it done, they frankly don't care if you're like walking in, being super productive for 3 hours, and then like going to play foosball and then going home, right? So long as you're meeting expectations and hitting deadlines, right? Because like 3 hours of big brain is really all you have. 3, 4 hours maybe. That's the message of deep work. Like all the a lot. It's just chock full of anecdotal evidence that like highly successful and celebrated writers and artists and whatever will go into this kind of isolation mode for a chunk of a day or even a chunk of a year and just like do this pattern, and then a lot of them will sort of say, yeah, I tap out after, I get maybe 4 hours done in a day of really, really awesome stuff, and the rest is I'm putting my paints away, or I'm attending meetings, or I'm emptying my inbox. And if I tried to spend that time programming it, nothing would happen, right? Might be mixing narratives a little bit there, but I love the book. I love it. It's very validating. I talk to other people who are like super self-motivated and high performing, and they're like, yeah, I get maybe 3, 4 hours a day, highly productive hours. So that seems consistent with my observations. And I'm like, that is highly reassuring, and I'm happy to accept it as truth because it reinforces my existing belief, which I am motivated to believe. I mean, I would modify my belief if I had new information, but I don't. Uh, I was saying something about building an identity. What was it? Ideal personal development. Remembering what the hell I was saying. All of those topics. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in 5 minutes. Yeah. Best thing you can do is to stop identifying as someone who believes whatever it is you currently believe. Because then you can learn something better.